look, just so I can kind of nerd out on Adult Swim for a minute. Not since
Yeah.
MTV has a network been able to capture the sensibilities of an audience the way Adult Swim has.
Yeah.
For at least for my generation, I came of the age when Adult Swim was just coming out. Late 90s, early 2000s. And it was like my first introduction into like cringe humor, absurdism. I guess let me ask you, what do you think about the culture at Adult Swim that has made it so influential over the years?
Well, I think at the beginning, it started with Space Ghost, and that's where I got indoctrinated into it. It kind of just came out of nowhere, and I was a huge fan of that when it first came out. Like I would
Yeah.
stay up late and record it, and it was so random when it would come on. Like they didn't have a network at that point, and it was just sort of happening. And all those guys that originally wrote on that are still in the building in some capacity. Dave Willis, Jim Fortier, and Matt Harrigan, and all those guys that were original are still there, still making shows and still funny as hell. And to hear them talk, it kind of was a trial by fire because I don't think any of them had ever done anything like that before. They sort of had come from different backgrounds, and it wasn't the easiest work environment from what I understand. I don't want to talk too much smack because I wasn't there, but I've heard
Right.
lots of stories. And it wasn't an easy show to write for. I think they went back to the drawing board several times. It's very frustrating, but what they got out of it was great. The final product. So who knows if that wasn't the correct way to do it at the time. But yeah, that was just there was nothing like it at the time. And I think it was lightning in a bottle, so to speak. And I say that a
Yeah.
lot about Adult Swim. I say a lot of the times it's just lightning in a bottle. We just have a lot of bottles and when able to caught a lot of lightning in those bottles. But what the thing about Adult Swim that I think is, and all the shows on it, they're all very different from one another, which I think is a testament to the network, because I think that's why it's so popular. Because if you don't like a show, just wait and something will come along that you like. And I think the audience for all the shows aren't huge, except Rick and Morty, which it's Rick and
Yeah.
Morty.
Yeah.
But those tiny audiences make up a community for the network, and that is just something kind of special. It kind of feels like it's yours, and I think that's why it kind of blew up, because there wasn't anyone else doing it. They were doing something different and new at the time, which has now been aped by everybody, and to not much success. But yeah, it was just, I kind of I'm talking too much, but being behind the scenes of everything, you kind of see how janky the wagon is that we're riding in. And I often say that works in spite of itself, because I don't think we do anything correctly at the network. I don't think we do anything the way it's normally done at another network, or you would expect things to be done. And somehow it works. It doesn't always work, but it works, more often than not. So Adult Swim, I've been in the industry for a long time. Not that sounds very pompous, but I only say that because I've been in a lot of different studios,
Right. Right.
who have been more normal or whatever, or do things the correct way. I did air quotes. If this is just, I didn't know if this is audio or video too, but is this audio or video? Can people see me?
It depends on what format they're on. There's
Okay, good.
definitely going to be video loaded up on YouTube, but
Great.
audio is primarily what you focus on with like different podcasts.
Okay. I just want to make sure I didn't put on all this rouge for nothing. But yeah, so yeah, it was just the right time. It was just something different, and they kind of capitalized on that. And I think their motto was, we're doing this for ourselves. We're not really doing it for anybody else. We don't care about any of that. We're just making shows that we like, and that sort of just set it in motion, threw the boulder down the mountain, and just kept on rolling. I don't know if any of that made any sense. I blacked out for a while.
I mean, no, it definitely makes a lot of sense because I mean, the one thing that Adult Swim or seems to thrive on is like spontaneity. Like you take it back to Space Ghost, right? When Cartoon Network was first getting going, for those of you who are listening who don't know, it was started by Ted Turner just as a way to repurpose old Hanna-Barbera cartoons because he had just bought out the entire catalog. And the one thing that Space Ghost did, it was the first time that I've ever seen it done, and they, did it with like, C Lab 2020 and the such, was repurposing old footage and redubbing it with new voices. So, you're using that material in a fresh new way. And I had never seen that done before. So, Adult Swim, it's always experimenting with different types of
Yeah.
animation.
Yeah.
And, by doing that, I feel like, particularly once you guys got your creative juices going, I mean, Adult Swim, I mean, it began like, I don't know, in a way, like deconstructing what animation could be. And then you also redefined, the television format, for what animation could be, whether it's just like, what was the Adult Swim, off air where they just had
Oh
the
yeah.
different experimental shorts and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's great.
yeah, I mean that's where Too Many Cooks began. Like stuff like that. Stuff like that, like it pushes the boundaries, and it really makes you think about what this animation or what this art could be. So I mean, it's always challenging the viewer, which is something I love about it.
Yeah, and I think they actively seek out artists and seek out someone that wouldn't necessarily have a voice anywhere else or have an
Yeah.
outlet to create something, like the guys that the Wham City guys, and they just find sort of strange and interesting people, and they give them a shot. Those 4 a.m.s is where the Too Many Cooks things came from. It was just an excuse to just put something on at a weird time, 4 a.m., when no one's watching television, in an attempt that if you were happened to be falling asleep while you were watching and you woke up and this thing was on, it was originally, they were all supposed to be infomercials, fake infomercials. So you're just kind
Right.
of like half asleep, half awake, like, what the hell is this? Is this a real thing? Sort of a deal. And then it's turned more into like experimental short films and that kind of thing, which I think is great. It's a lot of fun. Um, but yeah, they just keep sort of finding strange people, giving them a chance to do what they do, and find an audience. If not, it's fine. We'll do something else. We'll keep going. So
Well, I mean, particularly, as like an indie artist or writer, someone who's just trying to break into the business, being able to find fresh talent and actually give them a shot. I mean, I mean, right off the bat, you're doing right away what a lot of companies won't do, because a lot of companies, they just have their staff writers now. They get an idea, they send it to the writers room. It's kind of like ticked away until it doesn't resemble the right idea, or it doesn't really even represent what the original intent of the artist could have been.
yeah. I've experienced that a lot. Even in Adult Swim, you write, because I've written for Your Pretty Face and Aqua Teen, and you hand in your first draft, and they give you notes, and you rewrite it to fit the notes and hand that back, and then they will then again go in and rewrite or what you did. So the nuggets of what you did are there, the stepping stones, but it may be completely different than what you originally started with, which is fine. But that's just, it depends on the show creator.
Hmm.
The showrunner is going to have an idea of what he wants, any show that you work on. Even Rick and Morty, they break story 100 times on that show, but it's to the betterment of the show. And that's the thing you got to learn as a writer to creator. You can't be precious about anything at all anymore, and that takes years to beat out of you. Um, but you can't fall in love with every word that you write, because they're just words, and there's lots of other words that might work better in that situation. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I think I have a theory that every movie was amazing at some point in production, like either the script or the first cut, or what the director wanted to do but couldn't because the producers were changing it. So any bad movie that comes out, I'm just in my heart, I think this was good at some point. It was worth making this in some stage of this. Maybe that's not true. Maybe I'm being I'm a very optimistic person, so I look at things very optimistically. So that may be a silly viewpoint on things, but I do think the industry tends to beat out a lot of the good in something for money, or in lieu of money, or in lieu of time, or it's like, do you want it fast, good, or cheap? And it's like, pick two of these. So I think that tends to hurt a lot of projects.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I don't know. Like when it comes to when it comes to writing, what was the old Hemingway quote? Edit your book 100 times and then edit it 2 more. You have to be able to. I mean, a lot of creativity is being able to be in the flux of change and being able to, reevaluate what your intent behind certain words are, what a certain character is doing. Um,
Mhm.
but I guess that's one of the things that's also kind of freeing about, a lot of the Adult Swim projects is that one animation, for the most part, you can pretty much do whatever you want within the constraints of budget, right? Aqua Teen shows that over and over
Oh
again.
yeah.
And a lot of times, you don't really have to have a specific intent to what certain characters are doing, because a lot of the times, it's just going to be completely random, kind of fitting in with that absurdist
Yeah.
humor.
Yeah, Dave Willis is famous for saying, "I don't care how you do it; it just has to be funny. Like, make it funny. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care how much longer it takes to get this. We need our shows, to the betterment of the show. I think, and for me myself, because I'm an editor, my day job there is a video editor, so I edit the episodes, and I get to do these other things too. Um, but we spend a lot of time in edit with every show that we do, a lot more time than any other show. But in that time, we are beating the hell out of it. We are squeezing every bit of comedy out of it that we can. We want to make it the funniest it can be. And if that takes longer in edit, then that's just the way it's going to be. It, on Aqua Teen especially, Aqua Teen's a great example, because they will write it from the script they write initially to the end product. They're not the same thing, even remotely close, because the way that show worked was they would write a script and record it, and then me as an editor, I go in and make an
Mhm.
animated version of it, a very rudimentary puppeted sort of thing. But I'm directing the episode at that point, so they don't come in and look at it at all. We just do what we do to that episode, adding jokes, visual gags and stuff throughout the thing, changing it our own self, and then they'll watch it and completely like, this isn't working at all, and they'll go record new dialogue, put it in, and the whole thing, the whole process is just growing and evolving as it goes, until they get to basically the point where the producer's like, we have to get this to animation for the schedule. And so
Yeah.
yeah, they will work on a show right up until the second that they have to get it to the next level, and they'll take every ounce of it they can, and if you gave them more, they'd take that too. But it's just trying to make it funny, or trying to make it the best it could be. And I think they sort of discovered, like the showrunners and directors discovered, that they had this tool that their arsenal, that they could massage something after it was quote unquote finished as long as they could. They can milk the cow as much as they wanted to, until the farmer just said that cow needs to take a break. But it's a great environment, because it's very creative. No one's idea is stupid. No one's idea is discounted. Everybody gets some input into it, and inevitably it's going to be their call, but they do lean on all of us very heavily, and it's a good environment for me, because I couldn't be in commercial editor.
Yeah.
It would drive me insane. So it's great. It's a great creative outlet, and everyone's great, and it's so much fun to work with. I'm so thankful to be there. Every day I pinch myself, because I'm like, whoa, this is actually happening. It has been 8-9 years now, so there's a
Yeah.
lot of pinches. I've got bruises all over